Hello everyone and welcome to the live Q&A on YouTube about Conan Korea. Woo! We're here with Conan O'Brien, of course.
You've got to stop shouting.
And sorry?
You know what I mean? You're just shouting.
Man.
We're in a room, and we're in a relatively small room, and there are microphones. So stop shouting.
I'm just trying to be energetic. We're here with José Arroyo and Jessie Gaskell.
Hello.
Right?
Hi,
Explain why they're here.
And we're talking about Conan going to Korea. These were the two writers that Conan chose out of all of his writers to take with him to Korea.
Well, that certainly makes the other writers seem unhappy.
I did that on purpose.
Glad you...
I did that on purpose.
Jessie, Gaskell, and José Arroyo came to Cuba, and then they came to Armenia, our trip to the Qatar Air Force Base, and then to Korea. So this is my traveling posse.
This is how you roll. You roll deep.
I don't know what that means.
We're his carry-on luggage for any trip.
It seems mean that he would stuff you into those bags, but it's just,
we're the only ones that fit.
Yeah, it's to save $25. We're taking your questions. So...
Shouting again.
What?
You're shouting again.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
I feel like we're meeting with the guy that's sort of like the faculty advisor at our dorm. You know? Hey guys, it's gonna be great.
Do some trust falls.
I give that air.
Just settle down. We're all friends here.
I'm just excited, as everyone.
If you think that he's talking too loudly, please tell us, and I will adjust.
Hashtag pipe down. Please explain to the people at home, if they don't already know.
They're probably not at home, probably at work or in their dorm.
Or in a study hall somewhere. Explain why you chose...
Or in a subway, high as a kite.
Why did you go to Korea? Why did you go? How did it all start?
I went to Korea because we're always interested in traveling. I love travel shows, and we want to do a lot of them. And we had dabbled in it before, but it really started with Cuba. And then I said these other shows. My assistant Sona and I went to Armenia. We went to Qatar because the First Lady invited us to entertain the troops there. And then I started realizing I was getting a lot of fan mail. I was hearing from Sona that I was getting a lot of fan mail from Seoul, Korea. And I thought, oh, that's great. And then someone explained to me that our show's not on in Seoul, Korea, and that it's a whole group of people that have become fans of the show, looking at the remotes mostly, I think, on the media, social media. Team Coco and YouTube. And so I decided, well, this is fascinating. And one letter really stuck out. A young woman wrote me a letter on her SAT prep form.
Hi, Sunny Lee.
Sunny Lee. Hi, Sunny Lee. And
she's still taking the SAT.
Yes, yeah. I don't think, and then I don't know if she's ever going to take the SAT. Every time she goes to take the SAT, she writes me a different letter. And I really like the letter, and she sent snacks, and that is a sacred bond with me. If a country sends me crunchy, salty snacks, I will go visit you. I'm not so much a sweets person, but Sunny Lee got it just right. Crunchy, salty, carby snacks. I love those. And that come in bags that have crazy characters on the front, and you can't understand what it's all about. It's like a moose wearing an astronaut helmet going. And so we said, let's go to Korea. We were announced we were going, and then we showed up at the airport, and it was bedlam. It's actually in the special. I've never been that surprised in my life. How many people were at the airport? Numbers vary between 1,500 and well over 35,000. A lot of screaming, girls, pushing, shoving. It was very erotic. I loved it. I had a blast, and we took off from there. And we took Stephen Yeun from Walking Dead, and the whole thing was as much fun to make as it is to watch, I think. And that's really saying something. I mean, when people look at this episode, a lot of people have said this is my favorite travel show so far. And it's because I just think the people were fantastic. The people of Korea are funny. Yeah. They're smart. They're terrific comedy partners. They're so open about their culture. I had an absolute blast. I think I slept for 4 hours the entire time.
We kept the cameras rolling almost nonstop. It was so much to do, and it was great.
Yeah. It was great. Someone on Periscope asked, if the Irish send you Tatoes, will you go to Ireland?
Yes, I think me going to Ireland's a little redundant. I actually went to Ireland. I can't remember when it was. I think it was the late 1990s I went to Ireland, and you can probably find that online. Conan goes to Ireland, and I try to find my relatives, and we just did this cheap joke that it still makes me laugh, is we put my face on lots of pictures of people, men and women from the 19th century. And that's a really fun. Go look for that remote. It's from the NBC days, but I think it's all up there.
I also, one of the jokes in that I always love is you're going through famous Irish Americans with a classroom of children, and you hold up Shaquille O'Neal.
And I hold up his picture, and all these beautiful Irish boys and girls go Shaquille O'Neal. But anyway, yeah. So, but I doesn't mean we can't go to Ireland and really do it right this time.
Yeah,
so maybe we'll go back.
Absolutely. Someone on Twitch asked, and maybe this is for you two guys, was there anything you really wish you could have put in the episode that kind of didn't make it? Or was there any experience while you're there that you wish the cameras were rolling for?
Oh.
I think a lot of the food market stuff that we shot, and Conan trying more exotic foods would have been great. But
one thing we got to do on the first day, we went to a cat cafe.
Oh yeah,
that is just overrun with. There's 40 wild. They're not wild.
But feral cats that attack whenever.
They don't belong to anybody, but they're just there in the cafe for you to pet and drink lattes with, and that was a cultural thing that I thought was incredible.
Yeah, I mean, to do it properly, we'd probably have to go back, because there's so much more, obviously, in Korea than you can capture in, an hour, or what's less than an hour with commercials. But yes, that there are so many great things we probably could do if we went back, which would be great.
Yes.
What was one thing that kind of surprised you actually going to Korea versus what you thought about Korea before you went? Like one thing you were kind of surprised by?
Well, I was certainly impressed. I don't want to say I was surprised by, because I had heard that it's true, but I was very impressed with how large Seoul is. It's extremely large. It's a very beautiful, highly technically sophisticated country. Their internet, the Wi-Fi there is much faster than anything I can find any place here in America. Our infrastructure is old, and Stephen Yun made a really good point, which has stuck with me. He said Korea is the only country to go from a country that was getting aid to giving aid in like a 40-year span.
Whoa, that's crazy.
And when you think about that, this is a country where you're driving through Seoul, and all these incredible, and the architecture is amazing. It makes our architecture in Los Angeles or New York look conservative. They really take chances. They're very expressive. They really go for it with their architecture, and I was very impressed with the style. I mean, when you talk about Gangnam style, it's true. I mean, you look at the way women dress, the way men dress. It is incredibly impressive. They have a very good sense of personal style, and they're very tech savvy. And there's a lot we can learn from them.
Absolutely. Yeah. I remember there was that building you could even see from our hotel lobby that looked like a giant speaker.
Yes.
Yeah. And do you want to explain about the hotel lobby, why it was every morning was so great being up above everything?
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say it was beautiful because it was on the 25th floor. So every morning we'd all get up and kind of like shuffle down, and then you just are struck with just looking over the city in this gorgeous way.
Yes.
What was your favorite food that you ate there, Jose? Because I know Jose is a very particular man.
He was adventurous.
Yeah.
I was adventurous.
You took chances.
I did. I had.
Jose brought a suitcase full of his own Hot Pockets. And reheated them in a microwave every morning. So, good for you, Jose.
Bolsillos calientes, as we say in my country. But yes, no, I tried everything. I tried the bibimbap, and the most adventurous
that makes it sound like you slept with a Teletubby. What is it? You got to tell people what a bibimbap. Yeah, I tried a bibimbap. He put up a fight, but eventually.
It was consensual. The bibimbap was a meat dish. That was delicious, and of course Korea is famous for its kimchi, which I love.
Kimchi is a cured cabbage.
It's a cured cabbage, fermented cabbage.
Yes.
They have chili paste that goes well with it. But the most exotic thing that I tried was the pupa of the silkworm that you'll see on the show when Conan goes to a PC Bang. They open a can of pupa larva.
I got nauseous, and I'm not kidding. When he cracked the top, I started to get that acidic feeling in my esophagus, and I thought I might vomit. The concept of pupas sitting in soy sauce. And then you ate it.
I only wanted to get one because I had a pair of chopsticks, but two clung to the chopsticks, so I was committed.
Alive.
No, they were not alive. They were in a soup of soy sauce, and I put them in my mouth, and I just imagined, okay, these are just beans. I'm eating beans, and as I swallowed, some grit on the outside of the pupa started scratching down my throat, and then it all went sour.
Trying to crawl out.
But otherwise, wonderful food. I would just leave the pupa for later.
Could I just encourage the viewer at home or on your screen, whenever Jose is talking, look at how much he uses his hands. And that's a fun game you can play at home. He'll tell about, I went and I did, and then I got a balloon, and then I opened a can, that's a game you can play at home.
If you know sign language, I'm saying help me.
Yeah. You're working for a monster.
One of my favorite moments, by the way, of the entire trip to Korea was, we're all very tired. We all work extremely hard. I mean, you most of all, and you are just giving your all. And we're here behind the scenes of the soap opera, and we're in this dressing room, and you're trying to get your energy up so you can do the soap opera thing. And Jose pulls out. Do you want to tell?
I don't remember what happened.
Oh, it's a little tiny. I have a 3x5 card holder that happens to have been given to me. It's made of crocodile skin.
This is true, by the way. This is a true thing.
It's a crocodile skin 3x5 card holder, and Conan is always on to me about being a precious, effete little European
metrosexual. And he's constantly...
He said it like this, by the way.
Yeah, and he's constantly eating like a little bit of flan out of a wooden bowl. And I'm like, where'd you get the wooden bowl? It was passed down from my grandpapa.
You with your food trucks and all, but I'm saying that you just latched on to that.
I energized when you pulled that out, and I knew I could make fun of you. But a point I'd like to make is that one of the things that I think is difficult to appreciate unless you were there when you watch this episode is the amount of, like, we're up all the time, and we're constantly traveling, and to get to the academy where I'm going to learn Taekwondo, just to get there and have it all set up and then shoot that remote, but then get in the van and get all the way to the DMZ and then shoot that and get back, and there's a lot of us being kind of exhausted in a bus, in a van, and this is just true of these shows. But then we get to the location, and you just have to kind of snap out of it and be fully animated and on. And so I was watching this. I mean, when we shot the video for Fire, that was, I think, a 15-hour shoot.
Oh, if not 18.
Or 18. It was somewhere in there. It was an incredibly long... We got there in the morning, and we finished up at, like, 2 in the morning, and the entire time working. And I've never worked that hard in my life, and I'm a hard worker, and I couldn't believe how the entire crew, everybody's going all the time, but I look at the show now and I never see the fatigue. It's so weird. I think it's just because whenever the cameras are rolling, we're having so much fun that it would be interesting to have outtakes of all the times that we're on a bus. It's 20 degrees out. We've just come from the DMZ. It's snowing. We're all semi-passed out. Jet lagged, sick. I was sick a lot of that. And the Korean people found out that I was sick, and they were very worried about my cold. And is this Korea's fault? And I'm like, no. It's my son's fault. He gave me this cold.
They kept giving you.
But they gave you stuff. You were bringing an American flu.
I probably did.
But especially that fire video. I mean, you sweated through that sweater. Like, I remember saying
that sweater. I've never hated a sweater in my life.
That yellow sweater.
I showed up for the shoot. and usually when you go to any kind of video shoot, they present you with your 35 options. And they have your size.
Yes.
That sweater is several sizes too big for me. And it's yellow. Now, anyone who knows color knows yellow would be the worst color to put a person with it brings out my just sallow
Jaundice.
malaria. And then I'm wearing that, and they're like, okay, wear that, and now dance in this hot overheated studio for 18 hours. And I kept looking out over at Steven, who was wearing much lighter clothing, and I was furious. Like, I arbitrarily, just before we started shooting, wear this old woman's fur coat. Now that's got to match. And I'm doing...
But it wasn't, they always presented Steven with a really cool outfit.
Yeah, Steven always looked amazing.
Yeah.
He did.
And I always looked like this mentally disturbed guy that escaped from like 1981,
And even during the breaks of that video shoot, that's when we went and shot the stuff with you and Steven with the claw game on the street.
Game.
So even during the break, we were just like, let's get in the van, and then
let's get something.
Yeah.
We went
Shot the
down
stuff
and we shot the stuff where Steven and I find that claw machine, which was so great because the kids, they are the most. The young people in Korea. I mean, the kids are so cute. The young people are so attractive and funny, and I don't know. I just they blew me away.
Yeah, and I think too, like to your point about being tired, like that's one of the things that energized all of us. Is like whenever we would get out of the van or anything, there would be a huge group of people there and would give us their energy basically, and just be like Popeye spinach, and then go in and you would do another.
Right, or a vampire draining them of
like
their life's essence, so that we can live on forever doing Satan's work. Anyway,
We're supposed to talk about
Klaus, I don't even know how to say this name. Klaus Harm de Boer.
you want me to take a look at that?
From Facebook Live asks, the remotes all
He wants to know, how do I pronounce my last name?
Yeah, right, exactly.
Klaus is curious.
The remotes all seem so natural and planned. How much did you guys plan before going to Korea? And did Korean groups seek a collaboration as they heard you were coming? This is the first trip in which you announced before you went that you were going to be there.
Yeah, I think one of the things that is important to remember, and this is something that Jessie and... Is it José?
Yes. It's always been José.
Okay, I keep wanting to say Ian. No, but Jessie and José, come on, just having fun here. That was not a strike. That was
visibly recoiled.
Sorry. I forgot we're on camera.
But one of the things that Jessie and José do, and Mike Sweeney, who's not represented here, he just creeps people out. We don't want him on camera. But one of the things that these two do, along with Mike Sweeney, is they research. So I think what we get on these shows is a very nice balance of thorough research, and we all meet about what are our options, where could we go, what might fit, what might not fit, and then improvisation when we get there.
Yes.
And I think that's the mix you need. Some people think, oh, Conan can just go to a country and let's just let the cameras roll. But I would spend 3 days just trying to figure out what's funny about, or what are the places to go.
Yeah.
Jessie and José and Sweeney, they research a lot of options, and we had a lot of meetings before we went. So because you can't just show up to a country and say, let's do a K-pop video, that had to be... So you guys speak to...
Of course. Well, for example, going to the DMZ, we had to get official permission and really ask that some doors be opened for Conan to get as much access as he got. And that, of course, takes a lot of work behind the scenes. Also, that Taekwondo school is internationally famous. They tour all around the world. You'll see, it's amazing. They're breathtaking. So we had to coordinate with them as well. Jessie, am I saying something?
No, you're doing a great job.
But it's true. It's true that all this has to...
I've been pointing to your hands the entire time. Okay. No, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to steal your manhood or machismo. But it's just a fun game to play. No, but I was singing your praises.
Yes, of course. And Mike... Mike Sweeney, of course, and Jason Chalani, the whole crew behind the cameras, all play a huge
So much prep work.
play a part in putting these
worked the
things
cameras.
together. No, well, but James and Seth and Jason as well.
Yeah, I'd like
They're
to
all
thank my
great.
agent.
Well, but I think what's so it's exciting and terrifying because you can do a certain amount of prep work, and we do, but then you get there, and sometimes all of that goes out the window when you see what you're presented with. And
Yes.
And on this trip, I mean, we showed up to Taekwondo and had no idea that they were going to do this really elaborate presentation for us, which it's really funny watching you reacting.
I was so blown away,
Incredible.
but I had no idea. And they set up a plastic chair in the middle of this giant space, and that was fun. And then you never know. So it's always a little bit akin to we're drilling for oil, and you never know. Like, we set up what we've learned over the years is if I'm not feeling it, or if we're not feeling it collectively, it's a little bit of a feeling of, this isn't feeling right. This is obviously impressive and it's great, but it's not right for us. Korea was impressive in that pretty much everywhere we went felt very good. But there were some things like PC Bang turned out to be, I didn't know that PC Bang would turn out to be that funny and that interesting. And that was a natural discovery. I had no idea that they had to do so much on the keyboard.
Right.
So you see me on camera watching this guy,
Wonjay, yeah.
Wonjay, logging in for 35 minutes, and it really did look like he was breaking into the Pentagon's defense code and launching. I mean, he looked like one of those guys in, the guy in Die Hard that's like opening the safe, and that's actually necessary because I have to act it out. You can say I was sleeping and nothing was happening when I noticed my pillow and I was actually miming something for a reason. So you lose that round, one more loss, and you're out of a job. That's how it learns here.
Get my things.
But anyway, that was so. There's a lot of preparation and these two. I'll get your names eventually. These two and Mike Sweeney do an incredible amount of behind the scenes work. So that when we go in, we have a good plan, which we can then, at a moment's notice, throw away if we need to.
Yeah. So it's a lot of the comedy that ends up on screen is just because of the prepreparation.
Yes.
Well, I think me being naturally
And,
funny.
and also your.
I think me being
Got good
funny
talents.
and
Yes.
oh good, he's here,
Mike Sweeney.
Mike Sweeney.
Hey guys, what's up? Sorry, I'm not camera ready.
No, come on, join us.
Hey guys, how are
Mike, sit down. Sit down.
No.
No, it's good that.
Yeah, here he is.
No.
Here he
Mike,
is.
you look
We
terrific.
were just
Mike
saying
Sweeney,
how
everyone.
instrumental you are.
The man behind it all.
Mike Sweeney, you can join in.
Yeah, no big deal. That's okay.
That's great.
Not
So,
our goal.
Sweeney, you want to answer
Yeah.
this question? Someone from YouTube asked, how scary was it to be warned not to touch or go behind the soldier at the North Korean border? And also, what was that experience like generally? I mean, there was a very intense energy in the air.
I find this moment more frightening than anything that happened in North Korea.
Not unlike this.
I'm sorry, were you talking to me?
Sweeney, please answer that. We have very limited time, but I would like you to answer. First of all, Mike Sweeney does an enormous amount of work behind the scenes, and he deserves credit. That's obviously why he's decided to rush in.
Doesn't get enough credit at home.
And he thought there weren't enough gray colors.
I didn't
on
know
the
I was
couch.
going to be on camera. I'm sorry.
That's okay. You look fantastic, by the way.
Thank you very much.
Who thought to wear like a New York Mets T-shirt? Oh, there you go.
There we go.
No, but I don't know if it comes across in the North Korean DMZ section. I don't know if it comes across how that really was a fraught situation. It felt, you could palpably feel the tension, and it was also sad. Like we're making some jokes, but also at a certain point we're overcome with the enormity of, you're in a bus and they're telling you there's 1 million landmines on that side, there's 1 million landmines on this side. We're driving through bridges that are that are filled with explosives and ready to blow.
Yep.
And then you get there, and Stephen Yun really said it best. He said, we were talking about it, he said, this is my family. These are my people that live in the North. That's not another country. That's our country. We're all supposed to be together. I thought that was powerful.
did you talk about? I mean, you touched on the bus ride to get to that joint security area.
Yeah.
We're not allowed to shoot there, and yet it was the most evocative of what's going on. It's a no man's land, and so by the time you arrive at the JSA, you're in the center of the DMZ. You're already just like, oh, you feel like you've been transported to another world.
There was the bus ride. It was gray. It started to snow. We're driving, and suddenly you just start to see a kind of barbed wire. We've all seen barbed wire, but you start to see a kind of barbed wire and concrete that just looks, 7 notches above what they put around an urban, car rental place.
Yeah.
Right. And then they start explaining, yes, those fields over there on either side of you that are frozen, there's all these landmines there, millions of them, and we don't quite know where they are.
Yeah.
And I said, what do you mean you don't know where they are? Or someone asked, and they said, it's because when the rainy season comes, the landmines shift underground and basically float all around. And then we have to spend a lot of time trying to figure out where they are when the ground hardens in the summer. And it's sad. I mean, the whole thing is absurd, that this is completely man-made.
Yeah.
This is a completely man-made situation, and nothing highlighted the absurdity more than being in a room, really not unlike the room we're in now, where they said, if you go to that side, you're on the North Korean side, and you can stay for exactly this many minutes.
Yes.
Do not touch that guard. If you do touch him, he's under orders to push you both back. I've never been in that situation before.
Yeah, and it did feel like, I hope no international skirmish breaks out while we're on the wrong side. Like, maybe we would just get left in there or something.
Well, we found out that...
This show sounds like a riot.
We found out while we were there, the laughs were going fast before a certain Nets fan / geisha arrived.
I'm a wet blanket, I know.
No, you're fun. You're fun off camera. That was... They told us how much. I was surprised by this, Sweeney. How much violence has happened in that area? Yeah. Guards attacking each other. All these crazy things have happened. Yeah. So that was very powerful, and I was really glad we improvised it. And Steven, I cannot say enough nice things about Steven Yeun, who everyone, of course, knows he's this great actor, and he's star of one of the biggest shows on TV. He is such a funny guy. I've always known he was funny. He's a Second City guy. He's a great improviser, but he's also incredibly conscientious, very warm, very intelligent, and really cares about Korea and really cares about his people and cares about what happens to that country. Yes. So we really lucked out when we asked him to come, and he said yes. I feel like we won the lottery because his presence makes that show. We couldn't have picked a better. I mean, I'd go to any country with Steven Yeun. I want to take him to Ireland.
He was very conscientious and conscious of how things we were doing would come across.
Absolutely.
Yes, it's a different.
As you're saying,
it's a different culture. It's a different culture, and we wanted to make sure that we respected that culture. Comedy sometimes doesn't always translate, so Steven was our ambassador. He would say that, this might be the way to say that, this might be the way to do that, and having his voice and improvising that, doing the weather with him.
That was great.
That was, I think, Steven, like, just over on that side of the window. I mean, he's really, I can't say enough good about it. I love that guy.
Yeah, you guys had a very limited amount of time on that side. We had to ask permission for you guys to sit, because normally you're not allowed to touch the furniture.
Yeah.
Or I was just like, come on. It's a conference room. And they're like, okay, you can sit. But yeah, you guys had to do all of that in just a few minutes.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you get that sense of it. And you two are great.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he's super fast.
All right, we got we got time for one more question from YouTube. Sunwoo K asked, "Do you guys miss Samuel?" Samuel, actually, speaking of improv, that kind of came about just out of.
Oh yeah, that wasn't supposed to happen.
Yeah,
just was at this. We were supposed to go to that market, and then bought the octopus and then said, "Oh, I'll just keep it for a pet." And you could immediately see the Koreans saying, "No, you can't have it for a pet." And you're thinking, I'm on camera, I'm saying, what do you care? Like, you know, most people just immediately buy it and drop it down their mouth. It's the equivalent of me buying a Big Mac and saying I'm going to keep it for a pet. Why does McDonald's care?
Yeah.
So that just happened naturally. And then Jason Chalemi, if you go on the special site, you can see how much Jason Chalemi behind the scenes worked to keep
He fell in love.
keep Samuel alive.
And then, alive
in his hotel room.
Yes.
He fell in love with the Big Mac.
Yeah, with the Big Mac.
And then now you can that aquarium
Coex.
agreeing to take him, and
Coex,
so it was just a happening. In every travel show, it's nice when there's one thing that you couldn't possibly plan that just unfolds as a storyline, and the next thing you know, all of Korea is wondering, how's Samuel? People on the street, and I'm like, oh, you mean the thing that you would have eaten?
I wonder if they took down the Samuel exhibit as our plane was taking off.
I heard it was still up.
It's
There's
still
a new
up.
Samuel every day.
There's a new Samuel.
Yeah. I like the Olsen twins.
Yeah, right.
Always get another one.
All right, well, that'll do it for our live Q&A. Thanks for showing up, Smoove. This is great.
Next time, be here on time.
Right, exactly.
I know you were busy picking your wardrobe. somewhere there's a naked homeless guy. Come on, raise the roof.
Make sure.
Keep the hands to a minimum.
Go to teamcoco.com/Korea to see all the clips and check out our microsite as well as digital exclusives. And make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Team Coco for more digital exclusives and live Q&A. Thank you, everybody.
/tab. Control-Alt-7.
And watch Conan Korea tomorrow night on TBS.
Drink milk.
10 Central. Drink milk.
Drink milk unless you're lactose intolerant.